We're on page 42, right? I don't think we got past it yesterday. So we started off this lesson yesterday on page 42. Anila Dodi V'Dadi. It's okay. We're not learning Siddur. You're going to listen, right? You don't read Hebrew, right? So you just listen.
The blessings.
Good. So we're reading.
That's all.
So listen in. You read Hebrew, right? Page 4, a little bit. So follow. Page 42. So I'll start it again. Anila Dodi V'Dadi Li.
I can't hear you.
Then come closer.
You want to try to see?
No, it's okay. This way she can see.
Well, someone stole my hearing aids.
Okay, so I'll do my best. Okay. Anila Dodi V'Dodi Li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is unto me. Katuv B'Sefer Yetzirah. This is one of the earliest Kabbalistic texts. It says in the book of Yetzirah, Shelechol Chodesh Yesh Ot Miyuchedet. Each month.
Won't do me any good, honey.
Each month has a unique letter. V'ha'ot shel hachodesh hazeh hi Yud. And the letter for the month of Elul is the letter Yud, the smallest letter. V'mazal shel hachodesh hi hu Betula, Virgo. The month of Elul is the month of Virgo. So what is that supposed to mean? So Rav Shlomo explains. You understand what this means? That means that the month of Elul is touching something inside us, particularly the Yud. Okay, the Yud, the letter, it's a point. right? As soon as you put your paper on, your pencil on a piece of paper, you've already written the letter Yud. The Yud is a point. There's an expression in Yiddish, there's pinta Yid, that point of your that point of your Judaism, that point where it's there's nothing else there. It's just pure Jew. And secondly, the idea of Virgo is Shehu Na'ul v'Chatum. The idea of Virgo is that it is still closed, right?
What does that have to do with Virgo?
The Virgin is still closed. Okay, so meaning to say that point of the Yud, that point of your Judaism is something that's sealed and protected. Gan Na'ul Achoti Kala. My sister, my bride, is like a closed garden, like a locked garden. Gan Na'ul Mayan Chatum. A closed garden, a sealed fountain.
Gal means fountain?
Gan. I'm sorry, Gal. It would actually be Gal. It should be Gan. I'm sorry. It's a typo. Okay. So, did you look up the person? Sure, valid base.
Valid base.
Before I say for sure, it's a typo. Sure. If you would be a Sfardi, you would know exactly where it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the five. It's one of the five Megillot.
Nobody's perfect. Don't worry, nobody's perfect. You had a Sephardi.
What about you?
I don't know. There's some controversy. As far as I know, Ashkenaz, but somebody once called me and said,
"Are you perfect?" That's what I was not asking.
"Oh no, God forbid."
There was only one man in history who was perfect.
Remember his name?
And you know what his generation did to him? They nailed him up.
No, but no, he wasn't the one. There was somebody in the Chumash that was perfect. He died very young, actually. Dalit Beis.
No.
Very good, Shaya.
You know what? I'll be perfect.
Hold on.
Who's Chanoch, no?
Chanoch, not
Enoch. In English.
Enoch?
Enoch.
And then who became this way?
He was before Noah.
Before Noah.
After Adam. After Adam.
It's not the right place.
One of the Adam's children.
Great grandchild.
Okay, let's go. I can. It's the reference points is also not
By way of.
Oh, here it is.
Seth.
Oh, it is Gal Na'ul. It is Gal Na'ul. It's not a typo.
It's a very strange expression, Gal Na'ul, because the Gal is a wave.
A spring. Over here it means a spring. Okay. It's Shira Shirim Dalet Yud Bet, not Bet. Okay. So the idea of the Yud is the Pinta Yid, the point of your Judaism, the essence point, and the idea of the Virgo is that it's protected and sealed. So what is that supposed to mean? So B'chodesh Hazeh Mivinim, so Rav Shlomo explains that in this month we understand She'anachnu kol kach shayachim lekudsh b'richu. We understand that we are so
Connected?
belonging to God. Sheshum davar lo kadosh lo yachol lachtzotz beinenu. There's nothing that can separate between us and God, or להפסיק את הקשר הזה, or interfere with that connection with Hashem. אני רוצה שתדעו, חברים יקרים. In other words, even, it's like, for example, we once learned that Shlomo was talking about this in a similar vein. Imagine this, there's been, I think if I'm not mistaken, twice in history there's been a Jewish Pope. So let's say this Jewish Pope calls up Rav Moshe Feinstein, Olav Shalom, and he says, it was Rosh Chodesh yesterday, and I didn't say Yalav Yava. Do I have to repeat the Shemon Esrei? So Rav Moshe Feinstein's going to tell him, of course you have to repeat the Shemon Esrei. But he says, you didn't hear me. I'm the Pope in Rome. So he said, I don't care. You're a Jew. You understand? In other words, a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Nikuda. Period. Pintale. And there's an aspect of your Judaism that no matter what else you might have been doing, you still are a Jew.
True.
אני רוצה שתדעו, I want you to know, חברים יקרים, my dear friends, התיקון בחודש אלול הוא לא כל כך בדברים שעשינו לא נכון. The fixing that we need to do in the month of Elul is not so much about things that we may have done that were not right, but rather, לא נכון, sorry, התיקון בחודש, התשובה המיוחדת לחודש אלול היא, the unique tshuva for the month of Elul is בדברים שעשינו נכון, it's things that we actually were doing tshuva for things that were right, אלא שלא עשינו אותם עם כל הלב, but we didn't do them with all our heart. הלב לא היה מעורב מספיק, the heart was not sufficiently involved, right? In other words, the depth of my heart wasn't involved. That's what the idea of the pintali, of the nekuda, of the point, of the letter Yud. So the question of Elul is, on the one hand, you're a Yid, you're a Yid, and there's something about your Judaism that is inseparable from God. On the other hand, when you were doing a mitzvah, were you doing it with that innermost aspect of your being? Was your innermost aspect of your being involved as well?
See, we learned this yesterday.
Yes.
There. So I took it to heart.
To the pintale.
Yeah. You have to be conscious of all the mitzvahs you're doing. And I tried doing that. And it's next to impossible for me.
Okay, so correction. It's not next to impossible. It requires training. Okay? It's not next to impossible. It looks like it's next to impossible only because of the fact that we live in this world in a very worldly way, right? And the thing that we're usually most concerned about is our own selves, right? And we're seldom in touch with this pintale yid, right? It's like, take for example, yesterday I mentioned these Jews who gave their lives al Kiddush Hashem, even if all their life they didn't do anything, right? Now take that yid 5 minutes later, and he was ready to give his life for God, right? 5 minutes later, you say, you know what? You're such a holy man. You were just about ready to give your life for God. Now let's put on tefillin, okay? And he agrees to put on tefillin. The first time that he's doing it, he's going to be really excited, like, wow, he's going to feel like, oh, wow, I'm doing a mitzvah, right? What about the next day? Understand? So it takes training. You didn't need to be trained to worry about yourself, to be concerned about your physical self. As soon as you were hungry, you cried, right?
Well, I didn't cry.
When you were a baby,
Baby, yeah.
okay? You were hungry. You didn't send your mother an email. You cried.
Cute as the
You
mice.
sent her a scream mail. Okay. So you cried out, I'm hungry, right? So our whole lives are like that. We're very much connected to our physical selves. Okay. Now you're talking about being connected to a deeper aspect of your being, which is your neshama, and to be conscious of your neshama as much as you're conscious of your body. That takes training. That takes a lot of Torah. That takes a lot of mitzvahs. So it's not that unless I'm going to train myself, it is going to be next to impossible.
Well, I understand what Shlomo is saying here.
Good Shlomo.
Shlomo. Is we can do all the mitzvot correctly, but Elul is to help us bring back to do them with all our heart,
Right,
with the heart open and flowing,
right.
and fully.
That's
fully
exactly what
involved.
we said, yeah.
And it connects this with why is it connected with Elul? Because Elul is the month of Virgin,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, that represents something that there is something within each person that is pristine, that hasn't been touched.
That's the Yud.
The Yud that is pristine, that is pure as it came
Right.
came from its source,
Right.
just like water that came
That's
from
what-
a deep onto the mountain, and you tap it. Now they still there's mineral water, the deep, clear,
Yeah.
unsullied by any experience that could have messed it up
See, that's your
emotionally
very
or
good.
physically.
You're
or any
saying
other
the
way.
same thing in a few different words.
Okay, I'm adding the
Good,
concept
good.
of not just locked up, but that it's pure in the sense of pristine.
Well,
like
that's the Yud. Not the Virgo is that it's protected. The Yud is the
But
pristine.
what is being protected? I'm saying it's this pristine original purity that's being protected.
Yeah. אתם יודעים, you know, לפעמים אנחנו פוגשים מישהו, sometimes we meet someone, הוא אוהב אותך, he loves you, הוא מתוק, he's sweet, הוא חמוד, cute, ובכל זאת הוא מרוחק, and still the person is not really close to you. הוא בא לך לומר לו, מדוע אתה כל כך רחוק? And you feel like telling that person, why are you so far away? Right? לפעמים אתה רואה מישהו מתפלל, sometimes you see someone praying, הוא מתפלל יפה, מאוד יפה, he's praying very nicely, מאוד מתוק, very sweet, אבל מדוע אתה כל כך רחוק? But why are you so far? Why are you so far from your prayers? Page 43. ראיתי הורים שמנשקים את ילדיהם. I've seen parents kissing their children. ובכל זאת, and nevertheless, רציתי לומר להם, I wanted to tell them, מדוע אתם כל כך רחוקים? Why are you so far from them? So, Elul is the tshuva about things that you did that were right, but you were far from it. Okay?
No. Elul has always been, preparing for the high holidays.
That's right.
And even though I may not have been Orthodox, I still did prayers every day.
Baruch Hashem.
And I continue today. I read Tehillim. I have good eyesight. Years are sort of problem.
Baruch Hashem.
And I really, that's why I came to Israel. In my hometown, there was one synagogue, the Conservadox.
Where was this?
Western Pennsylvania, McKeesport, Pennsylvania.
Ah.
And now the synagogue moved from downtown to within 3 blocks of where I lived. So I wasn't there when it moved.
Yeah.
But now it's there.
Good.
And from the time I was 3, I knew I was Jewish.
Baruch Hashem.
And I fought all through school. There were no other Jewish children in our grade school.
Wow.
So
Baruch Hashem, you're here.
I have heard all the swear words. There are possible in 5 different languages, but I don't use them. I went to the kotel and I had Hashem help me to not swear anymore.
Baruch Hashem.
It's a big thing.
So it is. So עכשיו תקשיבו, now listen. יש בזה אומר שהמילה אלול באה מהמילה אליל. Here, the Ishbitzer is relating the word elul to the word alil or elil, which in the Torah is meaning an idol, okay? But the elilim, right? And Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch explains also why are the idols called elilim in the Torah, because they're from the word al, no. See, the much of idolatry is based on a concept that the idols that they believe in don't like man, and that they always have to, and that man has to keep on bribing them. And that's why, as a matter of fact, in was it last week's parsha or it's in this week's parsha? I think it's in this week's parsha. Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. Did you listen to the ending on Shabbos? It's that's last week's parsha.
Yeah.
Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. You are children to Hashem. Lo titgodedu. Do not separate yourselves. Lo tasimu korcha beineinechem and lamet. And don't rip out your hair between your eyes when somebody dies. It was a custom among idolaters that when somebody died, they believed that their gods were angry at them. So what they would do is they would gouge themselves, rip out their hair to, so to speak, appease their idol, to sort of make the idol think, oh, we're suffering already plenty, so leave us alone. Saturday comes from Saturn's day. The way that the Goyim used to worship Saturn is Saturn, is the color red. And they used to take the person and flog them on Saturday until they were good and bloody. And the idea was that now that Saturn sees this person already bleeding profusely, he's now going to be happy, he's going to leave everybody else alone, which is so totally different from what Shabbos is all about. Understand? So what the Ishbitzer is saying is that the word Elul is related to the word Alil, Perusho, meaning Davar Chasar Erech, something that is lacking in meaning, in value, Lo Mashma'uti, not meaningful, Rachok Mimekas HaEmet, far from the center of truth. Lo Yuman, unbelievable Chiddush. As Heichan Hayud, Heichan HaMerkaz HaPnimi HaMashma'uti. In other words, the letter Yud being associated with Elul is, the question is, where is your Yud? Where is your innermost connection? Are you connecting deeply or is it just all superficial? Understand? So Hatshuvahi, so the answer is Elul, who has man shebo dafka mitoch harichuk. Elul is the time that dafka from within the distance, mitoch ha'elil, from within the negativity, mitkarvim, or from not negativity, but from within the nothingness, or the mitkarvim l'nekudat hayud, we get closer to the letter Yud, meaning we get closer to the innermost essence. I was just learning it this morning with one of our students at the yeshiva. There's a verse that says, Merachok nir'a li Hashem. Hashem appears to me from the distance. Meaning to say that, let's say somebody davened Then after davening, they say, "Oh, I was such a good davening. I feel so close to God." And another person says, "Oy vey, I could hardly concentrate. It felt like my prayers were like almost like as if they were without meaning. I was trying so hard and I didn't manage." Which davening is higher?
Well, I know the answer, but
Yeah, let me hear. Guess.
No.
Second.
You told you gave it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. The answer is
The one who said,
I'm so far, right? In other words, if somebody feels that they're already close to Hashem, in other words, what are they saying? They're saying, my relationship with God makes perfect sense to me. So I got it all worked out. I did this, and God gave me this in return. I did that, and I got that. I did that, and I got that. In other words, so it's like there's another teaching from Shlomo on davening that we learned a number of years ago. He asks the question. A few weeks ago, we read Parshat V'Etchanan, where Moshe Rabbeinu says, "I prayed to God to be allowed to go into Israel," right? And God says to him, "No," right? So the question is, if you want to tell your children if you want to teach your children to pray, are you going to tell them about a prayer that you prayed many, many times and God still said no? Or are you going to tell them about a prayer that you prayed and God answered? You would tell them about a prayer that you prayed that Hashem answered, right? That's what makes sense. So why is Moshe Rabbeinu telling us that he prayed so hard to get into Israel and still God said no? So Rav Shlomo put it this way: when you pray, gates are opening up in Shemayim. Now, when the gates open up and you say, "Can I have an apple, please?" So you get an apple, and what happens with the gates? The gates are shut. As you asked for a specific thing, you got it. But Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, I was praying to get into Eretz Yisrael and I was told no. The gates that I opened up in prayer are still open because I didn't get my reply.
You have to reply no.
I didn't get the response I was praying for. Understand? So long as you recognize that Hashem is beyond whatever you've achieved so far, you're going to continue trying to get closer to Hashem. But as soon as you think that you already have it all worked out, everything is working, everything makes sense, so that's it. There isn't going to be any more growth unless some kind of crisis is going to, positive or negative, is going to stimulate the growth.
But isn't it possible when you daven to God and you get what you're davening for? So one should machabek with the hunt. It doesn't mean anything.
No, not that it doesn't mean anything. Of course, it means something, but it's not. It's not going to bring from that point on. It's not going to bring you closer or not. There's a mitzvah in the Torah that when you build a house or you move into a house and it has a flat roof, right? So you have to have a fence around the roof. Because, as a matter of fact, if you look in Sanhedria, you'll see all the Bar of Shamberg or all the Shalom Derav, all the buildings have a fence around the roof. So, in case anybody goes up there to protect them from falling off. Okay? Now, using that mitzvah as a metaphor for your spiritual work. Okay? So, the Noam Elimelech says like this: the roof represents the height of your service. Okay? The highest level that you've reached. How do you go and grow further? By putting a fence around it, it's no longer the highest level.
Why not?
You explained that.
Thinking about it.
Because by putting a fence around it, you realize, I can fall off this. I can fall off this roof, right? In other words, if I want to go higher, I need to protect myself. So you put the fence around. So now it's like a ground floor again. It's not the top floor anymore. It's a ground floor again. Understand? And that's the idea over here. Is that is dafke from the awareness of the greatness of God. The Alter Rebbe puts it like this. Let me go step back for a second. Alter Rebbe says every time that Hashem does something does something kind for you, what Hashem is actually doing is He's bringing you closer to Himself than ever before. Okay? Chesed, v'yimino tachapkeni. He embraces me with His right arm. Okay? He's embracing you. He's doing something for you. You're being embraced. And what happens when you're being embraced? You're being brought close to God, right? Now, if you really are conscious of being close to God, then you realize, wow, Hashem is so much greater than I ever realized until now. And if Hashem is so much greater, that means I'm so much what? Greater or smaller?
Smaller.
I'm so much smaller. And when you realize that I'm so much smaller, then you yearn for more. And then you'll get it. Merachok nirali Hashem. From the distance, you'll see God. God will appear to you. But if you think that, I've arrived, this is it, well, this is what you thought it is. But it's much larger than what you thought it is. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says about Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the most what? He was the most humble person, more than any person in the world. Michal, you and I are walking in the street and we meet Moshe Rabbeinu. And it's okay, fine, I can see that Moshe Rabbeinu is more humble than you maybe, but how could he be more humble than me? Moshe, who was on Mount Sinai, you or me? How could he feel himself more humble than you or than me or than any other person? The answer that's explained in Chassidus is because he was so close to God. So therefore his awareness of the greatness of God was so much greater. So therefore he also realized that we are really almost like nothing. In a sense, so his humility was greater too. You know the story about the rabbi and the chazan and the janitor in the shul? You know that one, Michal?
Yeah.
Of course he knows it. You know it?
So funny.
The rabbi and the chassan and giants.
The janitor.
Sure.
The rabbi comes into services. It's a few minutes before the services begin. He goes over to the Aron HaKodesh. He opens up the ark and he says, "Dear God, it's just me, your humble rabbi. I want to thank you for everything you've given me. But the truth of the matter is, my wife has been nudging me and nagging me. We need a new paint job in the house. It's going to cost a couple of $1,000. My board isn't willing to give me a raise. Please, God, it's me, the humble rabbi. Could you inspire the board to give me a raise? Thank you." And he shuts the door in Kodesh and he goes to his seat. Thanking you in advance. He goes and he sits down. Then the chazan comes in. It's also still before services. Goes over to the door in Kodesh. He opens it up and he says, "Dear God, it's me, the humble chazan. Thank you so much for everything, God. But my car keeps on breaking down. I need to trade it in. I'm short of a couple of $1,000. Please, God, have compassion on me. Thank you so much. It's me, your humble chazan.
Yeah.
He goes and sits down. A couple of minutes later, the janitor comes in, opens up the door in Kodesh. She says, "Dear God, it's me, the humble janitor. And my daughter is getting married and I have expenses. Could you please help us out? I appreciate everything, God. It's me, the humble janitor. Thank you so much." And the rabbi pokes the chazan and he says, "Look who thinks he's humble." Okay? You understand? Humility does not mean that you're a shmati. You know the word shmati? Rag. You're not a rag. It's not, a rag is not, it doesn't have the, humility means that you are the best you could be and you're humble about it.
Right.
And you're humble about it. You realize that as good as it is, there's so much more. Like the Rambam says, Tachlit HaYediyah, the ultimate of knowledge, is to know what?
No, nothing.
To know that you don't know. Not that you don't know, not that you know nothing, but to know that there's so much more to know. Right? When you think that you already, the Barak's father-in-law is a professor of math at Technion. So he told me that nowadays, when he goes to a conference of mathematicians, math has become has blossomed out so much that people in one field of math don't understand the people in another field of math. It used to be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, a little bit of algebra, a little bit of geometry, and you were a mathematician. Math has become so sophisticated, right? How did it become so sophisticated? Because the chachamim in math are the ones who realize, wait a minute, there's more, there's more, there's more.
Always more.
Right? Always more.
You can always learn.
Okay? There's more. A humble person is somebody who's very sophisticated, very knowledgeable, big Talmid Chacham. And because he's such a big Talmid Chacham, we realize there's more. There's more. We started learning Masechtas Chulin in the yeshiva, and Masechtas Chulin has 100 and something pages in the printed in Gemara, and it has something like 3-4 times as many printed pages in small print of commentators just on those few pages. You understand? There's more, and there's more, and there's still more being written on it. You understand? And that's what real humility is. The more kindness that Hashem is showing you, the more the response has to be, wow, God is so much greater than I ever realized. And feeling that distance, which brings you to the yearning, which brings you closer to Hashem again.
I heard a really nice quote on humility. Can I share? So it says, humility is not thinking less about yourself. Humility is thinking about yourself less.
Thinking less about yourself. Where did you hear that?
Humility is not thinking less about yourself.
Say not thinking, right. Where did you hear that?
I think it was a TED Talk, honestly.
Really? I actually sent that quote out a few weeks ago in my Parsha lesson.
Wow.
So you may have seen it there too.
Like,
because a friend of mine told me that quote. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking less about yourself.
No, I've always asked Hashem for help. I'm a professional artist, and I even sat in the window of a store once and doing portraits. Now that's not my favorite, but I would say, Hashem, and all of a sudden I could do them. I just look up and my hand just did them, and they looked great, and people paid for them. I didn't worry about the pay. I just did them. I gave them to the cashier. They did all the money.
Wow.
And I once did a Rembrandt from the Metropolitan Museum. I sat there for a week and painted it. And I got an A+ to graduate from art school. And then when I went to go home, it was gone.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the world, there's a
Somebody stole a Rembrandt from you.
no.
Now you're famous. Okay, good.
How is it possible to think
Everything
that
has to be
about
from
yourself?
Everything.
I love this.
I wish I had believed more when I was growing
How
up.
am I doing this with it?
I wish I was here in Israel when I was growing up.
How is it
Reb
possible?
Nachman says
I was in a
that the
hospital
mind
about it.
can only think about one thing at a time.
In a what? In a
Reb Nachman says that the human brain is like a horse. Whichever way you pull the reins, that's where it goes. Whichever way you want to think, that's what your mind is going to think. In other words, it's again training. ועוד כתוב בספר יצירה, and furthermore it says in ספר יצירה, שהתיקון של החודש הזה, that the fixing of this month, הוא תיקון יד שמאל. In Sefer Yetzirah, he relates every month with a particular letter, and also with a zodiac sign, and also with one of the tribes, and also with a part of the body. The part of the body that Sefer Yetzirah relates the month of Elul with is the left hand. Mahi Yad Smol, page 44. Mahi Yad Smol, what is the left hand about? Yad Yamin misamelet et ma shani oseh b'ofen muda. The right hand symbolizes things that I do consciously. Yad Smol, ma shani oseh b'ofen lo muda. And the left hand represents things that I do subconsciously. Without getting into why that's the case, but that's the way it is, right? And if you were a lefty, it would be the other way around. You understand? But the left hand is like the right hand wants to do something, so the left hand is there to assist it when necessary. You understand? You don't like, for example, when you want to slice a bread, or you want to peel an apple, or whatever it is, and let's say you're a righty, right? Your focus is on what is on the right hand, not on the left hand. Okay, you just want to make sure that you're not going to cut yourself, but right? Except if you're left-handed, right? So the right represents conscious, aware activity, and the left represents activity, but not so aware.
Is that also like the brain, like the frontal?
I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, there's a left side and a right side, and one is the more artistic side, one is the more rational side.
I'm sure the left side
But
is like the animal instincts.
I don't think so. I think it's the other way around, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you'll find out and you'll tell me, okay? So Dafka Be'elul, so the month of Elul is associated with the left side, right? The subconscious. Dafka Be'elul, so particularly in the month of Elul, Kishapnimiyut Me'ira, when the inner essence of everything is illuminating, Midbarer li pitom, then it becomes clear to me suddenly, shekol ma she'asiti, that everything that I did, afilu ma she'asiti ba'ofen lo muda, even that which I did in a subconscious way, ba mehayud hazot, מנקודת היהודי החוויה בעומק האני שלי. In other words, before we were saying that during Elul, we're trying to do tshuva on the things that we did that were right, but we're not done with a complete heart. But my deepest essence wasn't present. But as you're doing that tshuva, you also come to realize that, you know what, Michal? maybe on a conscious level, I wasn't completely present in doing the mitzvah. But the fact that I did the mitzvah, it's why did I do it? Because it actually emanates from that yud inside me. In other words, let's say, for example, I'm a kid, okay, and I'm walking by some restaurant, some pizzeria, okay, and they're piping this smell into the street. It smells tremendously good, and I really want to have a piece, okay. And I'm about to go in and get a piece of all-dressed pizza, chas v'sholem. You know, the whole geschäft, you know, with the meat and the cheese and the whole tray, okay. And I'm about to go in, and I take one quick look around behind me, and I see, there's my school principal. I better not go in there now, right? Or you're a kid, you're in shul, you're a kid, and you're talking to the guy next to you the whole time, and then all of a sudden, you know, you realize your father just came into shul. What do? You stop talking and you start davening, right? Now, superficially, it looks like, why are you davening? Because you don't want your father to give you a good whack, right? Why didn't you go into the pizzeria? Because you don't want the principal to make you shish kebab, okay? But the real reality is that deep inside, you realize that you really didn't want to eat that tray of food. Deep inside, you eventually realize, you know, maybe I stopped talking in shul and started davening because I was afraid of somebody, but deep inside, I really do want to daven. Okay? In other words, even those things that you thought that you were doing it subconsciously and without much attention, but in reality, in Elul, as you become more aware of your neshama, of your nekudah, of your pinta leyid, the more you realize that, you know, I really did want to do this. I really did want to do this mitzvah. I really didn't want to do this aveir. So b'chodesh Elul, we didn't finish Shai. B'chodesh Elul, we have 3 more lines. B'chodesh Elul, ani ledodi v'dodi li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is unto me. Chodesh Elul hu pashut hazman lilmod yoter. It's the time to learn more, להתפלל יותר, to pray more, ולהתקרב יותר אחד לשני. It's the time to get closer one to another. Understand? So that's what he's saying, is that's what he's explaining. The whole thing about Elul is getting close to each other again, getting close with Hashem, getting close with the Torah, getting close with one another, getting close with your neshama. Okay, and you know, so maybe 11 months have gone by, and sometimes you might even think to yourself, who knows? Am I still a Jew? Right? And in Elul, you discover that, oh yes, I really am. Much more than I was wishing to admit.
Amen.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
bring
You're
my
welcome.
hearing aid next time.
Please do. Please
I
do.
understand certain words. but-
Good. Especially with my voice, you need a hearing aid.
Yes, thank you. What time is your Shabbat third meal?
7 o'clock.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have a good day, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've got the telephone man coming.
Okay.